What does the box say? Oh God, Cenk Uygur created this segment, and it's going to involve.
And it's not going to go anywhere.
Going to involve one of our TYT Next correspondents, Kevin Cordoba, who we will intro into you guys in a little bit, because we need to start with some discussion on Gennady Golovkin versus David Lemieux. In terms of the calendar year of boxing fights, not since, I believe, Mayweather Pacuquiao has there been a fight truly been hyped up enough to watch. In terms of the boxing fan base, we've been looking forward to this for a long time, at least since they announced it. So Saturday night at Madison Square Garden, a sold-out Madison Square Garden, Triple G will look to hopefully, in my case, knock out David Lemieux. We'll get to more of that later. In his truly his first A-list opponent. So before we get to the preview of the fight, we start breaking down what we're looking forward to seeing. Interestingly enough, Apple has sponsored Triple G and is turning, or at least it looks like trying to turn him into an even bigger star outside the boxing ring as he is inside the boxing ring. Here's the commercial that he is just featured in. One interesting thing I found from the Triple G boxing commercial, iWatch commercial, I should say. If I ask 100 people in our own studio and office, what athlete is that? 0 besides myself or you would be able to pick that out and say, oh, it's Gennady Golovkin who's fighting on Saturday night. I was curious as to why Apple was choosing him, or maybe is it because they're trying to make him into a huge star?
I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because Apple, they obviously like to go with the bigger names, but they do like to take a lot of the responsibility as to making someone into that character that they want to know as a personable figure throughout. So it's not just in looking at an athlete. They've got Apple Music coming out right now, and they've obviously went with some of the biggest names in there, but they also have someone like James Bay, who you said you don't know when we met him at iHeartRadio.
Yeah, right.
He's one of the flagship characters on this, because if you drive down Hollywood Boulevard, there is a massive poster with James Bay on it, and a lot of people might not know who that is, but once they see that poster, you bet your ass they're going to go and check out and see who it is, and when it comes up next time, they're going to say, oh, that's that song by him. I seen him on that billboard. Exact same thing. If Gennady Golovkin knocks out in this next fight and then he pops up in the media, they're going to be like, that's that guy from the iWatch commercial. Bang. That's how marketing works.
Right, and it is very good marketing.
Yeah.
And if Apple believes that Golovkin can become the next big fighter, and again, we're going to get to the preview in just a second, against Lemieux, then others should start believing it, because Apple is a brand that is world recognized for making, not just stars, but sponsoring future stars.
Yep.
So his fight is Saturday night tomorrow night. I'm ecstatic.
Big night, Saturday night.
Yes, cannot wait. And it's against David Lemieux, who's, again, as we mentioned, his first A-list opponent. So as we promised, we're going to bring in Kevin Cordoba, one of our TYT Next correspondents for boxing. You've seen 2 of his videos in the past. They're awesome videos. Make sure to check them out. But as for now, Kevin, how's it going? How you doing? Are you excited for this fight?
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here. Yeah, I am excited for the fight, actually. I was shocked when David Lemieux decided to take this fight. Usually, it's his first title defense, so most fighters usually take an easy fight in the first title defense, but no, he went in the Lion's Den, and he's going to take on Golovkin, so that was pretty shocking.
Absolutely. So in terms of what you're expecting to see from this fight, we were discussing a little bit beforehand as for our predictions. What do you think Golovkin needs to do to get that early finish and that early knockout?
Well, Golovkin, he's known for being an aggressive fighter. While even though he is aggressive, he's a very technical fighter. I think he's a good combination puncher. He uses his jab to establish the pace, and he knows when to throw the right hand. His right hand is probably his best punch, but he also has a good left hook. He's not really a head hunter either, so he goes for the body. So I think if he goes for the body and goes for the head, he might be able to take out Lemieux. But also, he actually has good counter punching. David Lemieux is really known for being an aggressive fighter. He always, once he goes in a fight, he dictates the pace and he applies pressure. So I think Golovkin will be able to counter him really well. David Lemieux kind of throws a lot of wide punches, so that'd be easy for him to counter.
Yes.
So for Golovkin going into this fight, so what many people who are, I wouldn't say they're Golovkin critics, they're just kind of, they pose the question about what Gennady Golovkin would do in a fight where he wasn't able to establish the pace from the start. So Kevin, what do you think basically Lemieux has to do to establish that pace? Because as soon as Gennady Golovkin gets in the ring, if he's establishing the pace and he's fighting at the level that he wants to fight at, then you're in big trouble. So what do you think from an opposition standpoint he has to do to basically slow down Golovkin? Because as you said, he's an aggressive fighter and he comes out to punch.
Well, it depends, because if you watch Golovkin's last fight with William Monroe Jr., when Monroe was actually throwing punches, he slowed down Golovkin. He kind of disrupted Golovkin's pace. So if you can't just Lemieux can't just expect to counter or anything. If he does, Golovkin's gonna stalk you and he's just gonna end up knocking you out. But he has to do what he usually does: apply pressure. Lemieux's not known for coming backwards, and so he was gonna have to go in there, dictate the pace, use the jab, and also go for the body. One of the things that in boxing, and especially the judges, never give credit to his body work. He has been doing good with body punching to the right, and with his right and his left. It kind of slows down the fighter, and he's able to go for the kill later. So do what he does, but don't go in a brawl, because if he goes in a brawl with Golovkin, I think he's going to get knocked out.
Yeah, that's. It seems like almost any fighter in his division, the middleweights, really, if they're trying to go toe-to-toe with Golovkin, as we saw against Willie Monroe and previous fighters in his knockout streak, Golovkin can take a punch to the face, a power punch to the face, and throw one right back without even blinking an eye. It's truly a spectacle to see, and it's why I'm really, truly excited for the fight at MSG, because I think this is a fight that's going to get the 18,000 people that are going to fill the arena on their feet. I see only one. I should say there's more than one, but I see one weakness with Golovkin, and it was sort of evident against Willie Monroe, but not really exploited well by Monroe. In the center of the ring, Golovkin isn't seem as confident, and it does seem to slow down, especially when body shots are thrown. Is that something that David Lemieux has to do to take advantage of Gennady Golovkin, or is this something that, in the end, it's not going to matter? Golovkin's the heavy favorite here. He's going to knock out Lemieux regardless.
Well, it depends on David Lemieux. Like, David Lemieux is not known for his. He has improved his boxing ability, but he's not the type of fighter to actually stand. If he stays in the ring, he could be, but he likes to. As you notice, he usually backs up his opponent to the ropes, and I don't know how Golovkin's going to react to that. And one of the things that gives this fight a little credibility is that Lemieux is probably one of the first hardest punchers Golovkin has faced. So it'll be interesting to see if his power will affect him. I think if he stays in the ring and try to box him, I think Golovkin, I think he's technically better than Lemieux. But I think during the Willie Monroe fight, he kind of stunned Monroe and he tried to go in for the kill, and I think he kind of ran out of stamina a little bit. And Willie Monroe is not known for being a big puncher. He only has like 6 KOs to most of his victories. But I think if he's able to go to the body well, not just go in there head first, go into a brawl, slow him down, and because Lemieux is known for wearing down his opponents. That's how he got most of his KOs. Yeah. So I think it will be interesting to see if he's able to do that in the center of the ring. I highly doubt that, though. He usually pushes his opponents against the ropes.
So what all this discussion is going to pose a question about is just how big of a fighter Gennady Golovkin is, right? So you're talking about how Apple are trying to use him to push that message across and try to help in, I would say, the portrayal of one of the biggest stars in boxing. But still, as you mentioned, you put him down on paper, not a lot of people are going to be able to pick out that is Gennady Golovkin. Whereas from a boxing standpoint, his record is phenomenal. He's not scared to fight anyone. He will literally take on anyone. So do you think that he can get to the same level as fighters like Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, that stature to their name? Or do you think that because of maybe the competition level throughout and the lack of, I would say, star persona that goes along with Gennady Golovkin, all those left in that weight, do you think that he won't be able to get to that level, Jason and Kevin?
I've said it always comes down to the same thing with boxing, because there's no organization to the sport. It comes down to money. And when Canelo and Cotto fight, which is the premier fight of this year, it should blow everything out of the water in terms of excitement. We've been looking forward to that. But as for now, we have to focus on Golovkin and Lemieux, which should equally be an exciting fight to watch. It comes down to the money, because after Canelo fights Cotto, regardless the winner, we would hope that if the equation equals, Golovkin knocks out Lemieux, and or Canelo, Cotto, whoever comes out of that, if they were to fight each other, or if Golovkin were to fight the loser of Canelo, Cotto, if enough money's on the line, they will do the fight. It was money that brought Mayweather and Pacuquiao together, and I was a proponent in that fight. Is never going to happen. I still don't believe it actually happened, and I won't believe that another one's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if that fight came together in a time where boxing doesn't have truly enough premier stars to fill a pay-per-view card, this is something that, with Apple's backing, with Golovkin having to make, he's a huge fight for him tomorrow night. He has to win this fight. He has to knock him out in fireworks fashion, because who knows what tables get turned if Lemieux. Kevin, I'm curious your thoughts as well, too.
Well, I mean, like I said, the reason why Mayweather and Pacquiao were able to become superstars is because they fought Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya at that time was the biggest star in boxing. So once you beat the star, you're going to get the attention. But I think he has the potential to be a superstar if he fights Cotto. For those who don't know, Cotto is considered to be the lineal true middleweight champion. So Golovkin wants that status. If he fights Cotto, Cotto has a big backing, especially at Madison Square Garden. It's probably a sellout if he fights Golovkin at the Garden. But if I was kind of surprised to see Golovkin at the Apple commercial. I was shocked because I was like, oh, it's Golovkin. I didn't expect that to happen, but it does come down to money in the end. Cotto right now is at the tail end of his career. He's actually, he's a little more cautious of which fights to take. He's trying to get the most money as much as he can. So I think he could be Cotto and Canelo. They're right now probably the most popular fighters. Even if Golovkin fights Canelo, he could fight in L.A. but get a bunch of the Mexican fans to come in and watch that fight. Canelo's not afraid to fight anybody. He is a superstar. To the point of Mayweather, I mean, right now there's not. I don't see a lot of like Francis said, a lot of big superstars in boxing that will carry a pay-per-view undercard, that have pay-per-view quality to it. But I think he has the potential to be one. It just takes time. I don't know how much time he has though. Golovkin's 33 years old. He's catching. It's not too old, but I don't know how long it'll take. It doesn't take that. This is a time process. Mayweather wasn't a star overnight. So
yeah, and then just to finish on that, that is the point to end on, is that as much as many people may dislike someone like Floyd Mayweather, like we've talked about this, it's not just his boxing ability, which is one of the best we've ever seen, but it's the charisma, the character that goes with it. Love him or hate him, that is what builds up a persona. That is what builds up a character that I don't think can be measured with someone like Gennady Golovkin. I think he's a phenomenal fighter, but as Kevin just mentioned, a lot of people overlook the fact that he's 33. Like, that is not, like, for instance, he's got years ahead of him, trust me, he's still got a lot to do, but that is not an age where I would consider someone, if they haven't reached that star persona at this age, I don't see it happening to the point where star persona in a boxing environment, yes. But as you mentioned, in a worldwide environment, when you're looking at someone like Floyd Mayweather, someone about, oh, I know that douchebag, I know him, you could pick him out, no problem. That's what to me stands out for Floyd Mayweather. And I don't think Gennady Golovkin, if you asked him, he might not even want to be of that star nature because it comes with a lot of negativity and a lot of baggage to it. But when that question was asked, I think it was in the comments before, you just got to say that I don't think anyone can come close to that Mayweather stature right now until it's someone who's maybe coming up with that conflicting persona from an early age. Someone that you're like, all right, he's cocky, he's a douche, and then if he backs it up as well, that's when you get to that level.
Exactly, and the best part of all of it is that Gennady Golovkin's been in America for 3 years and knows the English language better than Floyd Mayweather. Most important part of the whole clip, predictions!
All right.
I have Golovkin in the 5th round, knocking him out. I don't think there's a chance this goes the distance. Francis?
I'm going to go 4th round knockout. Gennady Golovkin.
Kevin?
I'm going 4th round.
Nice.
4th round knockout.
All right, there you go.
Put the money where your mouth is.
I got my money on round 5. Let's do it. It's going to be an exciting fight where the boxing fans are ecstatic for it. Make sure to comment with everything below on what you think is going to happen with this fight. Is Golovkin the next best pay-per-view, biggest star in the world of boxing? We'll find out Saturday. At least we'll have a window into seeing if it can happen. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe. Make sure to check out Kevin's boxing videos on TYT Sports and come back for some more of me and Francis at TYT Sports on Twitter. We'll see you next time.